Music has always played a big part in the Chamorro lifestyle. Through our music, we can find clues about how our grandparents and great-grandparents dealt with change. In understanding our music, we gain a clearer insight into our culture, history, and our society. If you listen carefully and read between the lines, you'll see how many songs hold hidden meaning that is best understood by well-versed speakers of the Chamorro language. These vivid musical expressions paint a picture of the attitudes and life experiences of a simple island people. Early through song. Preferring to use voice rather than instruments, the early Chamorros expressed their wit and humor through song. Accompanying the humor were vivid descriptions of everyday life. Songs describing the sumptuous dishes and the natural beauty of fruits, flowers, and trees. Songs like Lelu Lelu. Other songs were used in friendly competition. Called the Chamarita songs, these melodies carried a delightful tune and a delicate rhythm, with the second and last lines of each verse rhyming. But the trick to the song was spontaneity. You see, during a festive occasion, one singer would suddenly stand up and start singing an impromptu verse using a familiar tune. Then a second singer would follow, creating another verse on the spot. Singers would try and outwit each other by selecting words that would tease the other singer, hoping to leave him speechless, or should I say, songless. No one really knew where that song would end, or for that matter, where it would begin. Now, along with songs telling a story of our cultural beginnings, our songs also reflected the influences of other cultures. Although much or navy butter. The women they left behind felt hurt and deserted. They created songs and teasing rhymes to express their feelings. Rhymes like, "You joined the Navy to see the world, and what did you see? The Kitan girl." Kitan is Chamorro for cross-eyed. Other songs vividly express the feelings of pain by mothers and girlfriends as these young men left home. Batkan Salman is a song about the last encounter between a young man and a woman after he enlists in the Navy. Named after the USS Charmant. Another song of that period is called Historia en Mumarino. The song was composed by the late Regina Munoz and arranged by the late Gayle Kaminga. It tells of the feelings of a young sailor's sweetheart and mother as they say goodbye to the sailor for at least the next 4 years. As the men left the island, the hearts of their loved ones went with them. Little did they know that their survival instincts and their culture would be put to the test once more. On the morning of December 8, 1941, trouble seemed far away. Farmers were The Japanese occupation had a great impact on the people. Adjustments had to be made in order to survive. The language barrier between the Japanese and the Chamorros was a difficult hurdle to overcome. But taking advantage of this, the Chamorros used their language as an emotional outlet. Satirical songs, tales, and jokes about the occupation forces were created. An example of this is the song Sensei na Sensei, in which children poke fun at their Japanese teachers. Many songs were a kind of veiled protest against the Japanese, a way to deal with the hardships of domination, a way for the Chamorro people to get back at their captors while not endangering their families. One woman, the leader of a group from Manila, was forced to appease the Japanese, fearing for her life. But in the process, she compromised the loyalty of her own people. The women in her group rewarded this disloyalty with a song about their leader, who salutes the rising sun. The male labor force had their own version of the song called Raymond San, composed by the late Vicente Benavente. It was sung at the Road Project in Machinanao. Ramon San Agustin is the leader they sing about, and interestingly enough, the song combines many languages: Chamorro, English, Japanese, and Korean. Ramon's name is changed to the English version, Raymond, and his last name is shortened to San, which means sir in Japanese. While these groups were ordered to fortify the island, local farmers were forced to provide food to their captors, leaving little for the farmer and his family. Some Japanese befriended farmers to get at this hidden food supply. Again, the insatiable Chamorro humor had to come up with a trilingual song that ridiculed the Japanese chow hunters who always seemed to be begging for food. As the war drew to a close, the food supply was exhausted and promises of liberation grew imminent. Desperation began to surface among the Japanese. This desperation was illustrated by cruel acts, like the execution of Father Duenas. The Japanese occupation of Guam was a traumatic experience, but also an experience that proved the inner strength of the Chamorro people. And through this trying time, it was song that kept the thread of sanity, the sweet sound of music that rose above the pain and sorrow that carried the people through the war years. Despite these brutal times, the Chamorros never gave up hope that the Americans would one day return to liberate the island. Their dreams are best symbolized in this song, Uncle Sam. Songs tell a story about the Chamorro people. They tell of beliefs, values, and attitudes. Their notes weave a pattern of survival and endurance, a love of nature, and a respect for each other. They kept alive a sense of competition, expressed humor, and strengthened social ties. But more importantly, it keeps the very spirit of our culture and heritage intact.